guys, happy Saturday. Having a little bit of a jam there, and yeah, today is basically time to do a little dive, a deep dive into jazz licks. We had a little poll during the week, and jazz licks won out just over blues licks. So we may do blues licks as well. Maybe we'll do it next week. See how you guys feel. I'm going to put up another poll during the week and see, because I want to do, the things that excite you guys the most, really, within what I find exciting as well. But yeah, jazz licks, they're fun, and I wanted to share some of the ones that I enjoy and some that perhaps are not too difficult to dig into and that you can use in all sorts of contexts. So I've made a tab as well for 5 jazz licks that the ones that I'll be going through basically, and you can grab that for free. It's on Patreon. The link is in the description. It doesn't cost anything to get those. Obviously, all of my tabs are on Patreon, so if you want access to all my intro solo tabs and the lessons that I've now started putting up there, and all of the Wednesday warm-ups, all of that stuff. You can, throw me a buck or two every month, and you get access, instant access to all of my tabs. So, but yeah, for this one's free, and you can grab it there on Patreon. So just dive in there if you want to have the tab while we're going through these licks. And first of all, tell me where you guys are at. Always love to see where people are at. And let me just adjust the camera very slightly so you can get my my guitar there. Yeah, let me see where you guys are at. And also, I have made actually a discount code for you guys that works today and tomorrow as well. It's Quist 8. It's in the description. So if you want to grab any of my albums, there's the new Into the Blues Volume 4. There's Grooving Through the Modes. There's quite a few of those albums. There are albums like Into Jazz Blues, and there's Into the Groove, which is a fairly new one as well. There's my album Trigger, all of that stuff, including any of the tabs and all the other stuff that's available on my site. It's all 40% off. There's a link to all the downloads and that in the description, and you can see the promo code there. It's Quist8. So if you pop that in the description, or in the at checkout, if you pop that in there, you'll get 40% off. David De Zitter is there. You were first, I think. Sean Malloy, hey man. Feeling 60s jazzy today. Yeah, something like that actually. Ian says the tabs look great though, so you've already grabbed them. That's awesome. And also Ian actually sparked the creation of a Facebook group that already has loads of people posting their jams and getting into the nitty-gritty of jamming and giving each other feedback and everything. It's totally awesome. So thank you, Ian, for sparking that, the creation of that, being the spark for the, basically the idea that made that happen. So I appreciate that very much. Everybody check it out. It's on Facebook. You can just search for Quist Backing Jam Tracks Forum or anything along those lines, and you should be able to find it. It's only a few days old, but there's already, like I said, loads of people that are sharing their jams and talking about the music and giving each other feedback, which is just awesome. It's so what this whole community is about. So appreciate it very much, guys. That's awesome. Smoothing into my afternoon. Holland, pleased to meet you. Holland is in the house. Love it. Thank you, Boris. Appreciate the kind words. Oh, Five Scotland. Ken is in the house. Now, Ken is a dear family member, actually. Pleased to meet you says, is that your favorite guitar? At the moment it is, yeah. It's just kind of got everything that I love. And Snowy Canada is here. That's awesome. Stockholm, Sweden, and North Carolina, a climber. And Brad from Pittsburgh, Minneapolis is in the house. Fred, thanks for tuning in. And hi from Manila, awesome. Right, so let's dive into this, guys. So some of you will maybe already have grabbed the tab. If you haven't, and if you feel like you need it, just hit that link to Patreon in the description, and you will see that it's very easy to just go there and download it, and you can have a look at it while we dive in. Cheers! This is my my Ernie Ball cup, which they sent to me. They send me goodies quite often. Ernie Ball are amazing like that. I've been an Ernie Ball artist for many years, but they keep sending me like goodie bags and all sorts of stuff, and like you know, strings, and they're awesome. I got nothing but good things to say about those guys. Right, let's dive in, guys. So the first one I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep it fairly simple, but I want to talk about two elements that are like the basic elements that you can, you know, go for adding to your licks in order to make them jazzy, if that makes sense, yeah? So element number one is arpeggios, okay? Element number two is chromatic lines, so you know, chromaticism basically. And by chromaticism, I mean you know, notes of the chromatic scale. So in other words, all the 12 notes, so that you're adding notes that don't necessarily belong to the scale. Okay, so it's those two elements that we're mainly concerned about today. So arpeggios and chromatic elements. And the first lick I'm gonna do has exactly those two things. So that's how the lick goes. Let me play it with a little loop here. Okay, so what we have there is like basically an A minor arpeggio. There you got your first finger on the 7th fret of the D string, going up to 10th fret, and I'm using my little finger here on the 10th fret. 3rd finger on the G string on the 9th fret. That's your A minor arpeggio, pretty simple, but then it continues up the upper extensions of the arpeggio. This note here, which is the flat 7, making it an A minor 7 arpeggio. Okay? And that we're playing with the 2nd finger there on the 8th fret. And then the next note is this note. The next arpeggio note, I should say, is this note, which is the 9th, which is that one thing that makes something very jazzy usually is if you play the 9th. So we're playing the 1, the flat 3, the 5, the flat 7. Now we're playing the 9th, which we're playing with the 1st finger there on the 7th fret of the top E string. Because we're literally just going up an arpeggio. But the trick here is we don't actually just play that 9th. We slide into it from the note just below it, adding some chromatic color. Like that. And that is a total trick that you can use in lots of ways to make your playing more jazzy, is like, you know, attack any note from just above it or just below it, in this case just below it, like that. Makes sense? So that's what we're doing here. Love that kind of sound and that kind of vibe. So and then actually going up to yet another extension. So we're obviously going up in thirds. That's what you do when you play an arpeggio like this. So going up another third would land us on this note, 10th fret of the E string with the little finger, and that one is the 11th. So we're going from the 9th to the 11th. And that is just such a jazzy playing on the extensions kind of sound. We go back to the 9th and then back down the arpeggio, landing on that note, which is very much a home note, you know, to land on the 5th. So that's it. What I'm trying to do always is to, you know, once you got a lick, mess it about and like play around with it and make it yours, you know, and just explore it in every way that you possibly can. So that's what I was doing there, just you know, just trying to twist it and turn it as much as I possibly can to make it into, you know, to build it into my playing in a way that makes it my own. So that's what I suggested you guys do, you know, go on a jam track and really play around with these kinds of licks. Actually, I've put a jam track in the description, A minor blues, A minor jazz blues, to make it nice and jazzy for you guys. You can look in the description. It's a bit further down. You have to click see more. And down there you'll find my A minor jazz blues, which will fit all of these licks that we're going through. And that jazz blues also actually has the intro solo tabbed. It comes from my Copycat Jam, which is on Patreon as well. It's got the whole tab there, so you can learn the solo and really dig into it and get even more licks under your fingers. So check that one out. That one is it's not far from 2 million views now. That one, it's really become a popular jazz jam. So I'm very thankful for that. And yeah, so hit up that one. That will fit all of these licks, so you can use them all, try them all out on that. But for now, let's move on to the second one. So this was the first one. Now the next one is one that I use actually quite a lot, and you can use it in various ways, but I'm going to show you like the most basic way to use it. And this is it. It applies the same principle as what we were just doing, which is sliding up to the 9th from the note just below the 9th, which would be the flat 9. So that's a definitely a classic kind of jazz lick sound. Okay? Love that lick. Like I said, you can use it in different ways. You can also use it, you know, you can use it in different contexts as well. It doesn't just work in the context of like a, you know, minor chord. You can make it work in lots of different ways, but let's keep it simple for now. And I'll show you how to play that one. So I'm using my third finger. Actually, I'll play it in context first. That's one way. You can also go, like you can do the little rake or the sweep. You can do that fast, or you can do it, you know, less fast, just like simple triplets. Let's keep it the simple way for now. So you're sliding from the 6th fret to the 7th fret with your third finger. And then I'm barring with my first finger on the 5th fret of the top 3 strings. So, and then sliding down to the 4th fret. And then landing there with my little finger on the A note on the 7th fret of the D string. So, very classic kind of jazz phrase, which I use maybe even too much, but I love it. so and I've given you two versions of that one. We've got a low version as well, just slightly different. But yeah, in terms of the fingering and the use of legato, we're just pulling off rather than sliding on the low string there. Yeah, so slide up to 9th fret, and then bar on 7/7 on D and A string, on the D and the A string, and then second finger on the 8th fret, pull off, and then land there on the A. You can use this one all over the fretboard. I mean, up here, up the octave, or in this position here. So let me mess around with it a bit. Okay, so that was number 2, guys. There we go. So if you haven't already, if you've just joined, there are a tab for these, or there is a tab for these. It's linked below. It's all free, just on my Patreon. So go on there and grab it. Yeah, let's try out number 3. So number 3 is, it's like this. Again, it's those very same 2 elements that I'm using, an arpeggio and some chromaticism. This is the simple version, but I just added a little bit of extra color to it, which is this, a bit of tension, because that note, you know, and then resolves onto this note. So let's dive into it. I'm basically sliding up to the A from a G sharp. Again, same principle, you know, adding chromaticism by going from a note that doesn't belong, but to a note that does belong, in a way that you know, sounds like a resolution. So sliding into the A from the G sharp there, so 13 to 14 on the G string, and then I'm just going up a minor 7 arpeggio, A minor 7. Okay, so 13th fret, and then 12th fret, and then 15th fret there with little finger. Okay, now I'm gonna pull off like that. So 3rd finger to 2nd finger, I'm pulling off 13 to 14. And then again, I'm gonna pull off from 15 to 12, little finger to 1st finger. So quite a bit of color right there. And then I'm just gonna take it home down the arpeggio, again, A minor arpeggio. So you can totally use that. You know, even just in a kind of bluesy, chill context. yeah, there you have it, guys. That is lick number 3. And let's see, where should we go? Let's check out lick number 4. Lick number 4 is actually, it's very short, but it's like that is also kind of a classic jazz lick, basically. You can play it in various ways. We're gonna play it like that. And again, it's chromaticism, so there's no arpeggio here, but it's all chromatic stuff. So we're going from the 10th fret, and pulling off like this, from 10 to 8 on the top E string there. So in other words, from the 4th or the 11th down to the minor 3rd. Then we're going up to the 12th fret with the little finger, and then I'm actually using my 3rd finger on the 12th fret of the B string and hitting that, and then going chromatically down towards the root note, which is your landing point. Okay? And we're pulling off there from 11 to 10. So another way to play that one is actually like that. But yeah, that's a total classic jazz lick, basically just arranged for the guitar. You will have heard sax players, trumpet players, piano players doing that kind of thing if you ever listen to jazz. There's all sorts of ways of playing that, obviously. So yeah. You can try and play that all over the neck, obviously. And that one, if you were to take a little sort of principle from that one and add that to your playing, I would say try and play around with little pockets of chromatic notes like that. So like we've already kind of touched upon, yeah, there's the 3-note pockets that are, you know, within the scale, where you're just adding 1 note in between 2 notes that are already within the scale. And then there's the 3 notes as well. You can find that there. If you're Dorian, you can find it here. And you can find it here. They're all over the place. Then there's the 5-note one. You can find that there, or there if you're Dorian. So yeah, they're all over the place. Let me try and play around with them a little bit. Just having to play around with it, guys. But yeah, that's that was idea number 4, and you know, just literally having a bit of fun, trying to you know, make the ideas into, you know, something new. So that's always what I like to do. You know, you get a lick whether you make it up yourself or somebody else gives it, or that you take it from somebody else. You know, always try and like explore it to the point of it becoming like something else. That's what I love to do, and that's what I always have done with licks and stuff. And that's why I make the jam tracks and all that sort of stuff, just because it makes things, you know, grow in unexpected and creative ways when you take time to actually use them in creative way, in creative ways, you know, rather than just learning something and saying, okay, that's how that is played, you know, more of a sort of classical musician mentality, I guess. So yeah, that's it, guys. And yeah, let me just see what's if any of you guys are. You feel free to ask me anything. I mean, it is a hang after all, and you know, I like these hangs. It's usually a pleasure to hang with you guys. I really appreciate, you know, the community that we have, and I want to keep doing them, but only you know, obviously as long as they sort of make sense, and I feel that there's you know, a strong incentive to be doing them. So I'm always trying to weigh up, you know, what the vibe is, and you know, experimenting a lot at the moment with what I'm doing with the channel. Obviously the main thing that I've been putting out for so long are the tracks. You know, it's the music and the jam tracks. Now I've started doing the Wednesday warm-ups, which don't get as many views as the jams and all that as of yet, anyways. But they've been very successful in other ways, so that's why I keep on doing them. And you know, a lot of people are appreciating and telling me that they appreciate those warm-up exercises, and I do enjoy doing that kind of thing as well, because it's, you know, you can never have too many fun warm-up exercises, and that's how I feel anyway. So so for many reasons, I'm still gonna keep on doing those, and that's that. But obviously this whole new era of me doing sort of a more lesson type situation, that's, you know, it's an experiment, and because I used to teach a lot. I haven't been teaching because I've been touring for, you know, the past decade. I've really just been on tour, and I stopped teaching, and you know, that was what I did. But I logged a lot of teaching hours before then, when I was younger, and you know, wasn't touring. So I feel like, you know, it's something that I enjoy and that I've spent a fair while doing, but there are so many great teachers on the internet, and I'm not trying to be one of them like that. I'm just trying to be myself and to share the things that I care about, and the things that are related to improvisation, and the things that are related to, you know, music and guitaring that I care about, and that I feel, you know, I can do in a way that is my way, and that you're not going to get anywhere else. So So yeah, that's sort of where we're at right now, and this is an experiment doing these live hangs, and you know, tell me your thoughts, guys. I get thoughts from people on Patreon. Obviously, that's like a place where people can contact me directly and tell me things and request tabs and request lessons and all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of a direct line of communication. There's a link below to the Patreon if we're not already connected on there. So that's a good way of of communicating very directly. But this kind of way I do really enjoy as well. But like I said, I only want to do it if it really seems to be making sense for everybody involved. I know that most of you guys are just expecting to see jam tracks and guitar solos from me, and guitar music, and it's like, yeah, I'm just weighing up. I'm weighing up what seems to make sense for the future, because I do enjoy diving into stuff like this, but I only want to do it if I can really feel that that people have a hunger for going down this route. So I'm weighing it up. So yeah, Franz is in the house. Could you teach how to improvise? That's certainly what I'm aiming at, and we can maybe do a hang that is specifically about improvisation. But obviously, anything I'm talking about here is very much related to improvisation. I'm trying to give you tools. I mean, licks are just tools, isn't it? Yesterday I was thinking about people that are able to rap and freestyle rap really well, which is, it's hard to fathom how people can make their brains do that quick. And I remember people coming up to me and saying that it's hard to fathom how I can play jazz like that, and you can just blurt out lots of phrases in no time. And playing jazz is so similar to to freestyle rap like that. Although I still don't understand how freestyle rappers do it, but I do understand how jazz players do it. And it's having a vocabulary and just continually getting used to speaking, within that vocabulary, and just bending it in all sorts of ways constantly. So it's like having licks and learning more and more licks, and theory and harmony and theory. Knowing a bit about music, and then just exploring continuously. Go on jam tracks, make up your own loops, and just explore. And the more you do it, the more you find a voice, the more you develop your own voice, and the more you learn how to actually improvise. You can start with such simple things, just a few licks that you've learned or that you've come up with yourself, and then just try and twist them and turn them until you feel like you've exhausted that, and then go and learn something new, like these licks right here, and then twist and turn them in different keys, in different contexts, all that sort of stuff. Progression and scale, says Hernan. So I was in A minor. I am in A minor. All of the licks, you can get the tab for the licks for free. It's down below, and they're all in A minor. So it's kind of a Dorian vibe I was playing right now, but yeah, it's basically A minor. It'll work on A Dorian or A minor or anything like that. Yeah, I don't think I'll do it in French. New yet. Sorry if I said that wrong. How do you combine jazz and blues and solos? Yeah, so that's literally what we're doing here. We're adding some colorful jazz language. Maybe go back to the replay and have a listen to what I was saying in the beginning, because yeah, you can definitely use this in lots of different contexts. It's all about adding those arpeggios and the chromaticism and jazz licks like that. Brad says, love the Wednesday warm-ups. If only more time in a day. Yeah, no, I hear you. I've been trying to make some Wednesday warm-ups that are a little less challenging, because I realize that the level that they're at is pretty high. I do make them pretty advanced, because most of them are something that I would want to play when I'm out on a gig and I want to warm up. which I've been trying to add a little more to make a few of them more accessible as well to people that maybe aren't quite advanced players, but more like beginning or intermediate players. Boris says, "This is great. How can I get this? How can I help you continue your great work?" Well, you can get the tab for this for free down below, and you can join up as a member on Patreon. I would appreciate that very much. It's definitely a growing community. It's been growing a lot since last year, and will hopefully continue to do so. I'm putting a lot of work into it, so that would be the best way that you guys can support me. I also have, like I was saying at the beginning, a sale on today and tomorrow. You can get 40% off all of my downloads and everything. There's a link below, and the discount code is Quist8 because it is February the 8th. Just tuned in. Wish you had a structured guitar course that I could pay for. Thank you. That is something I've thought about a lot, and something that may well become a reality. In fact, I have some plans with a well-known YouTuber to create one with him. My stuff, but like his production capabilities, so to speak, because my production capabilities are not that of many other YouTubers. I'm really just interested in playing and improvising. So there you go. So yeah, appreciate it. Awesome. Oh, and Zev is in the house. That's awesome. Zev has joined me on Patreon recently, and is actually a Skype student on there. You can I have a few Skype slots available each month, and the main way that those are accessible to people, the first priority is always my patrons. So yeah, that is on Patreon as well. So there we go, guys. Let me teach you the last one. Wait, let me teach you the last one. Wow, I think we're still there. Okay, so the last one is one that kind of combines all of them. So we have the arpeggio, and we have the chromatic action, and we even have a little pattern, that thing, which is a trick that you probably see me doing quite somebody like Pat Metheny, for example, will be doing that kind of thing quite often. You can do it in various ways, but Pat certainly does it sometimes this way as well. If you don't know Pat Metheny, check him out. He's sort of a ledge. So let me play it for you first, and then we'll break it down. One more time. Yeah. Okay, so starting on the root note, so this is quite high up. We could be doing it down here, but I'm doing it up here because I like it up there. So we're actually on the A note there, on the 19th fret of the D string, pretty high up. Okay, and then we're going hammering on from 16 to 17 on the G string with the first and second fingers. So and then third finger on the 17th fret, and then first finger on the 15th fret on the top E string there. So here we basically have, again, just an A minor arpeggio, and then minor 7, and then minor 9. So again, just an arpeggio. It's actually this one, but just laid out differently. So it's the one that we had in the very first example. just adding the ninth there, or the second if you like, before the flat 3. So, and I'm using economy picking, as some of you will probably have noticed. So I'm picking like, I'm going up, down, 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 up. Okay, and now I'm just gonna do that total chromatic kind of situation. But I'm gonna pick this one, then I'm gonna pick that one, pull it off. So pull off from 18 to 17, and then slide from 16 to 15. So okay, so, and if you've just tuned in, guys, there's free tab for this in the description. So that's your first part. So basically your A minor 9 arpeggio, and then that chromatic run. And then we're gonna go, we're having a little quick move there from the A there on the 17th fret, pulling off to 15. Okay, and then sliding down to 14. And then we move into this figure, which we're then gonna move down in semitones. So 14, 15 on the E string and B string, and then 13, 14, and then 12, 13. So that's totally a figure that you can move around, that you can use that to, you know, navigate around the fretboard. It sounds better in some places than it does in others. Obviously, you know, some places on the scale, but you know, the more you play around with it, the more you'll find, you know, the ones that you enjoy. So anyways, we got, and then we just land on the 14th fret, the A note, nice and safe, home note. Okay, so let's try that. I'm trying to play it really slowly. I've got a loop here that's super slow, and then I'll try and play it in double tempo as well. Double tempo is where it starts to get quite fun. So we go. Do it again. Double tempo. So I'm just trying to twist and turn loads of those licks that we've just done right there. So I'm sliding up to the 9th a whole lot, and yeah, that's it, guys. context of the other loop. Having a bit of fun jamming, guys. That's it. So yeah, this will stay up for a little moment. Was doing some octaves there. Maybe we'll dig some more into those. Actually, I did recently dig into that in a solo, a deep dive behind a solo that's on Patreon. Actually, you can find that. It might be linked below. If not, you'll find it on one of the recent posts on Patreon. It's like an A minor blues, and I was doing loads of octaves like this. So if you want to learn how to do octaves the way that I do them, sort of the Wes Montgomery way, I have just done a deep dive into that on Patreon as well. So there we go, guys. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it very much as always. And yeah, this will stay up for a moment, but then after that it'll only be available on Patreon as a deep dive lesson. Appreciate you guys hanging. And like I said, I've got a discount code for you just for today and tomorrow. It's Quist 8, where you can get 40% off of anything that's on my website. Right, I am going out to make sandwiches for homeless people in LA. And I'm not saying that to boast or whatever, but I've been wanting to do that for ages, and somebody who's very organized about it. He has a whole thing set up where he goes out and helps people, because the homeless population in LA is astounding. It's breathtakingly, it's just crazy. It's just, it's absolutely out there. And I've been wanting to get involved for ages, and I've finally got an invitation to help out with somebody who's already got, like I said, a really good setup going, where he's very organized in his way of helping people. So I'm going to make some sandwiches, and I hope you guys will have a great weekend, and you know, have fun jamming, and go grab whatever you like from the website at 40% off, and I'll see you on Patreon, obviously. That's where I put in a lot of work, and there's loads more jams coming. Obviously, put out a jazz funk jam yesterday, and there's certainly more jams coming very soon. Love you guys, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.